Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving deep into the mind-bending spiritual physics of National Master Zongfang's ancient text, Thrice Yearning. You know, if you've ever felt like ancient spiritual texts are just, well, abstract poetry, get ready because we're about to completely shift your perspective. We're actually going to look at the precise mechanics behind the mysticism. We're going to decode these concepts and overturn some pretty massive misunderstandings. Here is our agenda. First, the realm of pure merit. Then, the metaphor of the scale. Moving on to a rescue, not a welcome. Then, binding the mind. And finally, the spiritual dharma in sense.
Section 1. The realm of pure merit. Escaping the dusty world.
Okay, let's kick things off by contrasting our everyday normal reality with our ultimate destination. So, in our karma-driven world, everything requires physical effort, right? We have to work to get food, and once we make a mess, well, we have to clean it up. It's literally full of dust generated by our constant actions. But contrast that with the merit-driven world. This realm operates entirely on pure, effortless merit. Things just manifest via thought, and it is absolutely impeccably dust-free.
Let's look at what that actually means on a practical level. The source describes this world as being built entirely of 7 jewels. I mean, even the ground and the trees are carved from precious gems. But here is my absolute favorite part. Food and clothing manifest instantly when you want them, and then they just disappear when you're finished. In a merit-driven world, your needs materialize and vanish. I mean, it's the absolute perfect destination for anyone who's tired of cooking and cleaning up. There's no trash, no dishes to wash, no laundry. It's a reality powered by pure spiritual merit, completely bypassing those exhausting laws of physics we are so used to.
Moving right along to Section 2, the metaphor of the scale. What it truly means to chant.
So let's see how this builds into our actual practice. What's really fascinating here is how the text completely redefines the simple act of chanting. Usually, when we hear the word chant, we just think of making a sound, right? But the Chinese characters used here actually mean to weigh or balance. It shifts the entire paradigm. It's no longer just vocalizing, it's the physical and mental act of perfectly balancing a traditional sliding weight scale.
Let's break down this incredibly precise scale metaphor. The object you're weighing, that's the Buddha. The scale itself is your practice, your own mind. And that sliding weight, that little piece you move along the arm to find equilibrium, that is your perfect, unwavering focus. To truly chant, you have to keep that sliding weight perfectly balanced on the Buddha. If your focus shifts even slightly, if you get distracted by literally anything, the scale tips, the object drops, and boom, you've lost the chant. It is a very delicate, continuous mental balancing act, not just making a repetitive sound.
All right, Section 3, a rescue, not a welcome. Dismantling spiritual arrogance.
Now we need a harsh, but honestly crucial, reality check about our own spiritual egos. We so often have this grandiose idea of spiritual ascension, but the text bluntly states, you aren't a leader getting a VIP welcome. You're being fished out of the depths. We think being received by the Buddha at the end of our lives means this grand red carpet welcome, like two equals meeting at a summit. We kind of think we've done such a fantastic job practicing that we're being congratulated. Well, the source points out that this is pure, unadulterated arrogance. The text humorously, yet very firmly, reminds us of our actual status. You completely lack the ability to travel there on your own. You must be scooped up. You are entirely trapped by your own karma, literally stuck in the mud of the dusty world we talked about earlier. You aren't taking a victory lap here. You are the subject of a desperate, literal rescue mission. You are being hoisted out of a deep, dark pit by a massive spiritual force. Recognizing this total reliance and really humbling ourselves, well, that's absolutely key to the practice.
Section 4. Binding the mind. Total spiritual submission.
This actually brings us to the core title of the text, Thrice Yearning, which requires profound spiritual submission. But first, we need to redefine the word thrice. It's super common to think this means 3 periods of the day, like morning, noon, and night, but it actually refers to 3 different capacities or levels of people. It's a highly dynamic methodology designed to reach people exactly wherever they are in their spiritual development.
And guys, here is the kicker. Yearning doesn't just mean casually longing for something in your heart. It means to bind. To act as a literal seatbelt, it means completely attaching one's belonging and ultimate loyalty to the Buddha. Think of it exactly like snapping a heavy-duty seatbelt closed in a fast-moving vehicle. You are declaring, I belong to this, I am completely secured to this. It's a complete, uncompromising spiritual submission.
So, Why is this spiritual seatbelt so vitally important? Because, as the text points out, any wandering thought unbuckles the seatbelt and causes you to fall. If you mix this intense focus with random thoughts, like worrying about your job, thinking about what's for dinner, getting angry at the guy who cut you off in traffic, the seatbelt comes undone. And remember, because you are currently being scooped up out of the depths, unbuckling means you plummet right back down into the suffering and chaos of the karmic world. You absolutely have to keep that mind bound.
Section 5. The Spiritual Dharma Incense, the Ultimate Inner Transformation.
Finally, let's demystify the profound opening ritual of this text. Before the main practice even begins, there is an offering of the 5-part Dharma body incense. Now, this isn't about burning physical wooden sticks. It is a strict, step-by-step psychological progression: knowledge of liberation, precepts, concentration, and wisdom. You actually have to ignite this sequence within your own mind. It all starts with profound realization.
Let's use a very relatable, everyday example from the source to break this down. Think about your health. Knowledge of liberation means truly deeply knowing the exact mechanics of how a bad habit like, say, gluttony causes a painful disease like diabetes. You deeply understand the mechanics of the suffering. Liberation is the actual act of stopping that destructive behavior because of that deep knowledge. Once you stop the bad behavior, you naturally keep the precepts, the good habits, which then brings your mind to a state of concentration and peace and ultimately leads to wisdom. The spiritual incense is this entire transformative inner process.
So, the crucial point we have to ask is, if it doesn't fall from heaven and it doesn't grow from the earth, where does this spiritual incense actually come from? Where is this profound inner transformation born?
Well, the text reveals it stems from the first principle truth. Think of this as the absolute underlying screen of the universe. Just like a movie screen displays all the vibrant images, the drama, the chaos of a film, but remains completely pure, blank, and unaffected beneath it all, the first principle truth is that foundational reality upon which all the universe's phenomena are projected. The true incense is born when you tap into that underlying screen.
And how do you tap into that screen? It flows from the ocean of true samadhi. Samadhi is this profound, long-term concentration. Imagine a brilliant scientist intensely focusing on a single, tiny data point for years until a massive world-changing breakthrough occurs. Now scale that up to a cosmic level. When the mind achieves that oceanic depth of unwavering concentration, absolute truths are clearly seen and the spiritual incense is fully ignited.
So what actually happens when you light this internal incense? Embodying these 5 steps replaces the stench of your suffering and karmic baggage with a fragrant aura that brings others comfort. When you truly realize the knowledge of liberation and stop projecting your painful karma onto the world, you stop being a source of stress and friction. Instead, you radiate a joyous, fragrant presence that naturally elevates everyone around you. You literally become the incense.
To recap, we've explored the realm of pure merit, the metaphor of the scale, the rescue, binding the mind, and the Dharma incense. We've seen how Master Zongfeng brilliantly dismantles our ego, swapping our exhausting, dusty reality for a realm of pure merit, achieved through the perfect, seatbelt-like balance of a bound mind.
Which leaves us with one final thought. Knowing that we are all just caught in this dusty world, waiting to be fished out of the depths by a power greater than ourselves. Are you ready to let go of your spiritual arrogance, unbuckle your ego, and truly bind your mind to true liberation? Think about that scale. Keep your focus perfectly balanced. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.